The headlines. The Russian and Chinese presidents stress their political ties and discuss a possible road to peace in Ukraine. But in Kyiv, Japan's Prime Minister Kishida voices his country's support for Ukraine in the war. In other news, the UK's biggest police force is in a deep crisis. A review accused London's Met of institutional racism, misogyny, and homophobia.
Uganda's parliament passes a bill which criminalises people who identify as LGBTQ. Anyone found guilty faces up to 10 years in prison.
I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we are going to reinforce the law enforcement officers to make sure that homosexuals have no space in Uganda.
The Oscar-winning Hollywood star Gwyneth Paltrow is in court after a ski slope collision.
Mr. Sanderson is seeking $300,000, saying he sustained a permanent brain injury and 4 broken ribs. But Ms. Paltrow's lawyers say he's overstating his injuries and have filed a counterclaim for a symbolic $1.
And in Paris, Notre Dame's cathedral's famous statues are being carefully recreated 4 years after the fire that gutted the World Heritage Site.
A strong earthquake has struck northeastern Afghanistan, causing tremors across the region. 2 people have been reported killed. A 6.5 magnitude quake was centered in the Hindu Kush Mountains. In neighboring Pakistan, dozens of people have been injured in the northwest of the country. The U.S. State Department has said that it is deeply troubled by a vote in Israel's parliament to allow Israeli citizens back into 4 evacuated settlements in the occupied West Bank. A spokesperson for Washington condemned the move as provocative. He said it violated promises that it made to the United States. There's been widespread criticism of the move, including from the Palestinian Authority and European Union. Police are out in force in Paris as further protests are held in the French capital. That comes after President Macron's government narrowly survived a no-confidence vote over its pension reform plans. Mr. Macron is due to give a rare televised interview on Wednesday. The former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has accepted that he misled Parliament over the gatherings at 10 Downing Street during the COVID lockdown. However, Mr. Johnson also insisted that his actions were not reckless or intentional. He made the admission in a written defense of his actions. That's ahead of a televised appearance in Parliament on Wednesday. And finally, staying with celebrity legal news, the rapper Post Malone has settled a lawsuit about the authorship of his song Circles. Post Malone had been sued by Canadian musician Tyler Arm, who claimed he had helped co-write the song. But Post Malone sued back, insisting Arm didn't write any of it. An agreement was reached just before the trial was about to start, but no details of the financial settlements have been released.
More than 500,000 children have missed lessons in Los Angeles as school workers started a 3-day strike. Bus drivers, cafeteria workers and special education assistants employed by Los Angeles Unified School District, the second biggest in the US, are striking over what they say are poverty wages. Many teachers who aren't part of the dispute refused to cross picket lines, so didn't go into school.
A small number of Donald Trump supporters have gathered outside Trump Tower in New York and near his home at Mar-a-Lago in Florida. The former US president has called for protests over claims that he's set to be arrested over what he calls a Democrat plot.
For the very first time, London's West End has been lit up with 30,000 lights to mark the start of Ramadan. The lights were switched on by the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, who is one of more than 1 million Muslims in London celebrating. Coventry Street, which links Leicester Square with Piccadilly, is illuminated, as you can see there.
Looks
rather
beautiful,
nice,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Absolutely beautiful, especially at dusk last night.
Now, artificial intelligence is changing the way we search the web. Big tech companies are confident that AI will revolutionize the way we work online. Microsoft has already had one of those AI chatbots. Now Google is launching its own version. It's called BARD, and our technology editor, Zoe Kleiman, is one of the first people to try it.
This time 4 months ago, nobody'd heard of AI chatbots. Now millions of us are trying them out. So what is an AI chatbot? Unlike the regular search we've become used to, it can answer questions rather than send you links. It can also write songs, speeches, and even do homework. Microsoft has invested billions of dollars in the creators of ChatGPT, and now Google hopes to catch up with the launch of BARD.
I was one of the first people to get access, so let's start by asking BARD to write a thank you note for a wedding gift.
Thank you so much for celebrating our wedding day with us. We'll be using our gift to help us with our honeymoon. Not bad. How is BARD different to Microsoft's version?
There are a few key differences between BARD and ChatGPT. BARD is connected to the internet, so it knows about current affairs. It's also got a Google It button here, so you can go back to Google search to check your answer. And that's important because these things do sometimes make mistakes, and they even make stuff up as well. Google is rolling this out very slowly. You have to be over 18 and have a Google account before you can even get on the waiting list. Google describes BARD as an experiment.
So will it replace us? The creators of this tech hope it will free us all up to do other, more fun things in our lives. But some fear that AI will start taking over more and more jobs sooner rather than later, leaving us with far fewer ways to make money. Zoe Kleiman, BBC News.